I love to dress up. Ever since I was a little kid, one of the little things that made me feel good and safe in my body was finding that right clothes to reflect the spaciousness of how I navigate gender. And ever since the pandemic happened, my relationship to clothes was no longer there. There wasn't a lot of reason to go out anymore due to safety. All of the power of clothes was then stripped away from me, where I felt physically and figuratively naked, and that forced me to really think about what was happening underneath. And I realized that was a lot of gender dysphoria. And for me, what gender dysphoria means is it felt like I was watching myself on a TV screen. I technically know that body is mine, but it was something I never wanted to return home to because it felt so painful. So it was this out-of-body experience of feeling disconnected. The thought of returning home was so scary that is when I knew I need to take a step back to think about, if this vessel isn't for me, what is the type of home that's gonna make me feel good and aligned moving forward in this world as a non-binary trans person. So once I've accepted that I wanted to be on T, I started to share with a few folks in my community. There were two questions I noticed a lot of people asking. One of them was, when did you realize you wanted to be on T? And what was coming up for me when I heard that question was, I've always felt like I wanted to be on T. I've always felt this dysphoria in my body. The only thing that's different is that stillness allowed me to listen to it more. It allowed me to feel it and embody that pain more. And when it comes to like cisgendered people, especially cis men, you don't ever ask them, why do you want to be a dude today? Why do you want to wear more masculine clothes? Why do you want to be basic for? So why is it that trans people are having to prove their pain and why they're going on this gender journey, right? It should be already a default, just the way that is defaulted for other people. The second question that didn't sit well with me was, what are the physical changes that you're really excited about? And even though I know this question has a lot of good intention, the impact was still heavy on me. While I know a lot of people who are on T are really excited about physical changes, if anything, T was about giving me a choice on how I want to present to myself, how safe I want to feel in my body, and how I want to move in relationship to the world. And if anything, it's allowed me to feel really good about owning up to my femininity a lot more while fucking it up. So for today's dish, we're gonna play a little dress up. So the dish we're going to do is a lollipop oven-baked chicken with a kabocha squash puree. So let's get started. The ingredients that you'll need to play dress up are coconut milk, kabocha squash, sesame oil, cilantro, shredded lemongrass, red curry paste, radishes and radish shoots, oyster sauce, olive oil, salt, chicken drumsticks, spices. So I'm gonna show you how to lollipop a drumstick. And it originally came from the term called Frenching, and that's really colonial, so we're not gonna use that today. So we're gonna just say lollipop because we can redefine whatever we want, right? This technique will allow you to change the vessel and alter how you want to eat the chicken wing. So as you can already see this is an example of how it's lollipop. It just looks straight up naked, just like how I felt naked. Just kidding. I'm gonna start with the chicken wing. And what we're gonna do is do a 360 with the knife by first I'm gonna chop it. And I don't know if this is the right technique, that's just how I've done it. So I'm gonna slice it all the way until my knife hits the bone and then spin the chicken drumstick around while cutting. And we're kind of removing the tendon, the part that's a little bit harder to chew, out already. And then from there, I will take this smaller knife. It's not that sharp, but this is the only one that I have. And we're just gonna remove the parts that we didn't cut. Remove the parts that no longer serve us. And it looks like this. So we're gonna do it one more to this one. Oh wow, that was more smooth. Boom. So now we're gonna marinate the chicken wings. So I'm gonna take the oyster sauce and do about that much, just because these are really tiny. And then we're gonna do a little bit of the lemongrass. I would say the same ratio. We're just gonna throw all the spices in. And then from here, I like to use my hands, and we're just going to mix it together. And we're gonna do that feels like 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. And mix it together. You're gonna saran wrap this and let it sit in the fridge for about, I mean, the longer the better, but sometimes I get a little impatient. You can do at least a minimum of 20 minutes. If you can do it overnight, that's even better. Once it's marinated, we're gonna pop it in the oven. So as this goes into the oven, we're gonna start on the puree. Now what you're gonna need to do is take your radishes, and for this dish, because it's small, we're just gonna only use 2. What I'm gonna do first is cut the edge. With my mandolin, I'm going to take this, and be careful because I've cut myself before. Boom, that's it. And then now for the kabocha squash, one of the things that I like to do is to microwave it first so that when I cut it, it's a lot softer. So that's a neat trick right there. I'm going to just cut it in chunks and then boil it. So you're gonna need a pot of boiling water. Toss the kabocha squash in. And I would say we're gonna cook it from 5 to 8 minutes. A way that you can see that the kabocha squash is ready is that if you take a fork and just poke at it and pull it out, if it's easily pulled out, then it's ready. So I'm gonna turn off the fire. So now we're gonna make the kabocha puree, and what you'll need to do is take the boiled kabocha squash, put it in the blender. Whoa. You're gonna add, I would say, a tablespoon of red curry paste. And you can use any curry paste, I just like red. Put 2 tablespoons of coconut milk. Add a dash of salt. Okay, let's blend. So now I could already tell it's super chunky, so I didn't add enough coconut cream. I'm just gonna eyeball it and tell you how much I think it is. And we'll see how that tastes and looks. Okay, it's still a little bit thick, so I'm gonna add more. We're gonna add a teaspoon of salt and a little bit more coconut milk. One thing about cooking is that you kind of just feel and continue to taste it until you get it to the desired result, right? So it doesn't always have to be perfect the first round. Shake it. I already can feel that this feels good, like the texture. It feels good. I'm embodying it, you know? All right, let's taste it. Ooh, even that creamy consistency. Boom. You just pour it out. I think that's the consistency you want. That tastes good. It's really sweet. And now we're gonna work on the cilantro or olive oil sauce. We're just gonna use half of the cilantro bunch, about this much. I'm gonna put it in the blender. I'm gonna add olive oil, a pinch of salt, and then we're gonna blend it. And I could already tell I'm gonna need to add a little bit more olive oil because it's a little chunky. More. Okay. Okay, that already feels better. Yeah. Let's taste it. Yeah. So now we're gonna go check on the chicken and put everything all together. I can't even hit that note anymore. Hallelujah. Okay. See that? Melanated, spicy, complex. So now we're gonna do the plating. So first, you're gonna take a spoon. You're gonna take the kabocha squash puree. And what I do is I plop it on like so. Like that. Take my radish shoots, sprinkle this like so. I'm gonna take 2 of my chicken wings. We're just gonna like plop it down like that. Yeah. You're gonna take the radishes and just sprinkle it around wherever you feel. And then at the end, all you do is take the cilantro olive oil, just give it a stir, and then you're just gonna sprinkle it on to bring it all together. Oops, that was a lot. And there you have it. Wow, y'all. The power of embodiment, of embodying what feels good in the cooking process to make such a beautiful dish. Just as pretty as you. So let's try it. We're gonna eat with chopsticks. Okay. With everything. What's really nice is that the chicken wing is really savory. The oyster sauce is like this creamy saltiness. And then when you eat the kabocha squash, it's really creamy as well, really sweet. And then you have the cilantro olive oil that cuts through on top of the radishes. What I love about any dish is that there's a balance of acidity, savory, a little bit of sweetness, and textures that bring it all together, because without balance, how can you stay grounded? So I'm really excited about making this dish with you, and I hope you can feel a little bit step closer to groundedness as well. Thank you.
That was so good. Nice.
Eating break?
This was good.
Yeah, okay. There's more chicken in the oven.
Oh, there is. Dang, this was good.